All right, let's get right into it, because we're about to unpack one of the wildest event proposals you've probably ever heard of. We're talking high-speed race cars at the very heart of American power. Seriously, just take a second and picture this. Can you imagine open-wheel IndyCars literally screaming at nearly 200 miles per hour, flying past the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, with the Washington Monument just sitting right there in the background? It sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, right? Well, it is not a movie. It's a very real plan, and it's called the Freedom 250. And get this, it was just announced at the White House. This is a proposal to make that exact wild scenario a reality. So let's break down exactly what this thing is. We need to talk about who on earth is powerful enough to be behind it, and why this really could be a truly historic moment in the making. Okay, let's start with the basics. What are we actually talking about when we say the Freedom 250? At its core, the Freedom 250 is a proposed IndyCar street race, but it's the location and the timing that make it so incredible. It's designed to be a massive centerpiece for the nation's 250th birthday party back in 2026. The plan is for August 2026, with the big race happening on Sunday, August 23rd. But here's the part I think is really cool. Entry to all the public areas will be totally free. This isn't meant to be some exclusive, high-ticket event. It's designed from the ground up to be a public celebration. So, where would they actually be racing? Well, the temporary street circuit would wind its way through probably the most iconic real estate in the entire country. We're talking about the National Mall, whipping past the monuments, and even blasting down a stretch of Pennsylvania Avenue right near the White House. Now, this all sounds absolutely amazing, which, it kind of begs the question, if this is such a fantastic idea, why has it never, ever been done before? Well, the simple answer is that it's just been seen as almost impossibly difficult. To really get a sense of how unprecedented this is, think about this. The last known race in the nation's capital was a horse race in 1801. So yeah, we've gone from horse-drawn carriages to 700 horsepower racing machines. That is a staggering leap. Now, here's a number that really tells the whole story. Over the years, some version of this idea has been pitched more than 80 times. And every single one of those times, it failed to get approval. That just gives you a sense of the absolute mountain the organizers had to climb here. The hurdles have always been just massive. You've got some of the tightest security protocols on the entire planet. You need permission to race on what's basically sacred federal land. And then there's the logistical nightmare of shutting down downtown DC. So what's different this time? Well, somehow, multiple government departments actually got together and coordinated to give this thing a green light. So that leads to the next question. Who could possibly have the influence, the credibility, to finally push this through after more than 80 failures? You don't just need someone important. You need a titan of the industry. And that titan is Roger Penske. Look, for those of you who don't follow motorsports, it's really hard to overstate his influence. He is, simply put, one of the most powerful and respected figures in the entire history of global auto racing. I mean, his resume is just staggering. He owns the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is the home of the Indy 500. His teams have won that race a record 20 times. And, just for good measure, they've also won the Daytona 500 4 times. This quote from the source material really just nails it for me. It says, in racing terms, this is like owning the Olympics and winning it repeatedly. That perfectly captures his stature. When a guy like Roger Penske talks, people tend to listen. Okay, so we've got an incredible event, a nearly impossible location, and a legendary figure making it happen. But what's the bigger picture here? Why does this race truly matter beyond just being an awesome spectacle? The answer is that this isn't just another race. It's being positioned as a cornerstone event for America's semi-quinquacentennial, which is just the super fancy way of saying the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The organizers want to blend these 4 core ideas. It's all about celebrating American freedom and history, but doing it by showcasing modern American innovation and, of course, speed. And honestly, few sports embody that combination better than IndyCar racing. And of course, the impact on the city, and really the country, is expected to be huge. Officials are projecting a massive spike in tourism. We're talking fully booked hotels, thousands of temporary jobs, and just priceless global media coverage focused on these amazing American landmarks.
And to make sure that global reach happens, the media partner is Fox Sports. I mean, these are the people who handle massive international events like the FIFA World Cup. And the stated goal here is to create a broadcast that puts this race and America's 250th celebration on that exact same global stage.
So if this race actually happens, it's going to set two huge historical precedents. It would be the very first IndyCar street race ever held in Washington, D.C., and maybe more importantly, the first major motorsport event ever held on these historic federal grounds. Just close your eyes for a second and try to picture it. The view from an onboard camera. The world is just a blur at 190 miles an hour. And then the Washington Monument just screams into view. That single image would instantly become one of the most iconic shots in the history of racing.
So when you boil it all down, that's what the Freedom 250 is really all about. It's not just a car race. It's a race through history. It's a race through our nation's most sacred monuments. And it's a race for America's 250th birthday.
It is an idea of just incredible ambition, weaving together history, speed, and national pride into one single weekend. A spectacle unlike anything we've ever seen before. So I'll just leave you with this question. Would you watch it?